Hello, everyone. How's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another lovely, lovely video. Obviously, you've read the title of this damn thing, so you know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Um, it's amazing how much I heard when I was younger. From just different people. It was usually people older than myself, but I would hear a lot that, I would eventually grow out of metal, right? Or give it up or whatever. In fact, I've even heard some context of, that's one way someone assumed I would give up metal is if I would just get older and not like it anymore for some reason, right? Um, some guys are completely just fucking pussy whipped, right? Like they'll stop listening to metal specifically, sometimes other forms of music, simply because their significant other doesn't like it, right? There are guys out there who will totally give up pieces of their identity for whatever person that they are with, right? They'll just be completely pussy whipped and they'll just be like, okay, dear, since you don't want me listening to that stuff anymore, I won't. Never understood that either. um, as far as myself goes, obviously my passion for metal has not waned with age. And if a woman had ever told me that I needed to stop listening to metal, that would have ended the relationship pretty quickly. That never did happen, but I've seen it. I've actually seen it happen. I've known people who have done that for some odd reason, I guess. And as far as aging out, there are people who will claim to be really into metal when they're younger, like, a teenager or whatever, right? But you'll run into these people, like, hell, even in sometimes as young as their mid 20s, right? You'll run into them and you'll say, hey, remember when we used to hang out and listen to insert band here a lot? If you've been following their career, if you've been, listening to this or listening to that, and then a lot of times those guys will say, no, I really haven't had time. It was great listening to it back then, but I don't really listen to it anymore. I just don't have the time to listen to the music anymore. I can kind of understand to a degree, maybe not keeping up with the career of every band that you maybe did when you were younger. I do understand that work and family and household and all that stuff can take up a significant chunk of time. So maybe you don't know the name of the current guitar players in Megadeth, right? Because it's not Marty Friedman anymore. So maybe you don't know that's understandable, right? Or you don't know the drummer's name because it's not Nick Menza anymore. I get that. I don't expect. Honestly, I'm not even sure their current names, and I'm a giant Megadeth fan, so hate to admit it. Obviously, I know Dave Mustaine and Dave Ellison, but I don't know if Sean Drover. Anyway, I'm really getting out of whack here. So I could see not keeping up with it, but if they were your favorite bands as a younger person, you should at least follow them somewhat, even if you don't follow their new music. Saying you don't listen to their old records that you supposedly loved when you were younger, not listening to them anymore. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. So I've never really understood this whole growing out of metal thing that I've heard of. It just isn't logical to me. I think really what the whole thing stems from, at least this meme is this cultural meme that I'll call it, is simply based on the number of people who, listened to it at the time because maybe they had a group of friends that liked it and they stopped listening to it. But I don't think those people were really ever serious metal fans to begin with. For lack of a better term, they were definitely posers. Because if you really like this stuff, you're not going to stop listening to it when you get older. Because there's no reason to stop. Like, you don't have time to listen to music. Like, do you not drive your car, like, from place to place? You can't listen to music then? Are you... I mean, nobody's life is completely filled to where there's no time to listen to music. So I've never understood that excuse. And as far as, the closest thing that I could think of is, that I would identify at all is shifting musical tastes, right? Like, I can kind of maybe get it if, metal was your favorite genre growing up or whatever. Maybe your music tastes have expanded and you like more genres of music than you did when you were younger. Because that has happened for me. Because when I was younger, all I listened to was metal and hard rock, and that was pretty much it. Now I listen to a much wider variety of music than that, but metal is still my favorite. And I don't think that will ever change. I don't see myself ever giving it up or growing out of it or anything like that. So the whole growing out of metal or giving it up, to me, it makes no logical sense. And I really think the whole thing was perpetuated just by the posers giving it up as they got older. Now you hear about this with other forms of youth music as well. Like, the female version of this, right, would be like you maybe listen to boy bands or certain pop stars or whatever when you're a teenage girl, and then when you get older, you stop listening to that stuff. But honestly, in my experience, that hasn't been the case. Hell, I know a lot of 30-some-year-old women, 40-year-old women that still listen to fucking New Kids on the Block, for example, and Vanilla Ice. So I don't know. It's just something to think about. I don't really get the whole giving up music as you get older thing. It doesn't make sense. So anyway, I'd really like to hear in the comments below. Obviously, I know most of you guys would never give up music because I know my subscriber base fairly well. But if you know people like this, I'd like to hear stories about it. What do you think drove them to it? I mean, why the hell would you do it? So anyway, that's it. As always, if you like this, thumbs up. If you don't, share, subscribe, all the things. Thanks so much for watching. Live long and prosper.